Hey everybody, it's Jay Privman along with Marty McGee. We're doing two Derby Watch videos this week. First up, Marty, we will recap the results of the last week's races and how they impacted our Derby Watch Top 20. And let's start, as we always do, with our Top 20 grid. And there have been a lot of changes here. Most notably, you have a new third choice on the Derby Future line in the Bluegrass Winter Art Collector. But go through it all.
Well, Jay, I debated on whether to actually make Art Collector the second choice behind the obvious favorite, that being Tis the Law, but ultimately I decided maybe the Mike Smith factor and the California factor, and it'll be a while before it looks like Art Collector runs again, and in the interim, Honor AP will have a race, and presumably he'll win. He'll be odds on anyway. So we've got 2-1 on Tis the Law. That's up a little bit from what we had him before, with Honor AP holding sway at 4-1. Art Collector now at 5-1. We've got 3 horses under 20-1, but after that, Jay, we have 3 horses at 20-1, 2 at 30-1, and then 9 at 50-1, as we struggled somewhat to fill out the top 20, and 4 of those 50-1s are new ones to the scene, and they are Dean Martini, Major Fed, Mystic Guide, who runs in the Peter Pan on Thursday, and Shared Sense and Major Fed, of course, the 1-2 finishers last week in the Indiana Derby at Indiana Grand.
And we will take a look at the Indiana Derby as the second video, but let's start off with the Bluegrass, because Marty, this was the victory by Art Collector that made him go all the way down to the third choice on your line. An impressive win by him. Other Derby Watch horses that are in this race are Rushy, who finishes third, and Enforceable, who runs on for fourth. But let's start with the winner. What did you like best about his race?
I mean, what was not to like? I mean, coming off that 100 buyer at Churchill Downs, he ran even better. He got as you mentioned a number of times on Twitter and to me and to everybody else, Brian Hernandez, it's hard to find fault with the way he rides racehorses. And he got this horse not only in perfect position, but in just a perfect rhythm the whole time out. And then once it was time to go, at the quarter pole, once he looked Swiss Skydiver, the slight favorite over him, in the eye, they went on with it, and he strode out beautifully. Hard to fault. Tommy Drury is talking about maybe running him in the Ellis Park Derby on August the 9th, but that's only if various things happen. Otherwise, he'll go straight into the Kentucky Derby. But I know that Bruce Lunsford and Tommy himself and Brian, they're all ecstatic with the way this horse has progressed in recent months and the way he's going to come up to the Derby.
And as you mentioned, very good chance he'll train straight into the Kentucky Derby. The other horses that we mentioned exiting this race, Rushy and Enforceable, that will be the plan for those two colts as well. They will not have another race between now and the Kentucky Derby. Art Collector 3 for 3 this year, and certainly one of the many horses, if not the horse that has been best impacted by the delay of the Kentucky Derby to September the 5th. Marty, let's take a look at the other race that brought a couple of horses onto our Derby Watch Top 20 this week. That was last week's Indiana Derby. That race won exactly a week ago. We're taping this on July the 15th. We did our last Derby Watch video on July the 8th. It was later that day that the Indiana Derby was won. Shared Sense first and Major Fed second, 1-2 in the race. What do you think of their races?
Well, they both came from the back. Shared Sense had only Major Fed beat down the backside, and then they both crept up. Both got good trips. I thought Major Fed had to go a little bit wide. I don't know if the track was favoring closers the way that Keeneland seemed to be vice versa, favoring speed through their 5-day meet. But nonetheless, they were clearly best of the others. Shared Sense, it looks like he might run in either the Travers or the Ellis Park Derby. They're on the same weekend of August 8th and 9th. It's pretty amazing that Brad Cox has lost both Wells Bayou and Mr. Monomoy, and now he reloads with Shared Sense. He's a Godolphin homebred and seems to have some upside. Obviously, Jay, them having run in the Indiana Derby as opposed to the Bluegrass or a more quote-unquote major prep kind of says a little bit about their talent level. They will have to pick it up a notch or two to match up with the big boys.
Yeah, they certainly look like they're a cut below right now, but at the moment they are among the top 20 horses that we have headed towards the September 5th Kentucky Derby. Well, that's a look at the two races from last week that impacted our Derby Watch Top 20. You'll also hear at DRF.com find a video that Marty and I did previewing the two big races for this week, most notably the Haskell and also the Peter Pan. For Marty McGee, I'm Jay Privman. Thanks for watching.